Hey guys, it's Tick here. It's the end of a year, it's the end of a decade, so it's only fair that I go ahead and go through my top 10 best and most disappointing, not necessarily the worst, games that I've played this year. Admittedly, not played a lot of 2019 games. A lot of the things on this list are games that came out a while ago, and mostly just from my bucket list. So that's the first thing I need to say on that one. The second one is that this is my opinion. This is straight up my opinion. You should not take it as fact, because your list is probably different from my list. The third thing I will say is there will most certainly be spoilers in this, either audio or visual-wise. So if you're not a big fan of being spoiled, you'd probably not want to look at this. So without further ado, let's go ahead and let's go at my top 10 best games, and I'll do a most disappointing game later on, for 2019. Hey, you remember the SCP containment breach? Me too. Well, the same developers, Undertow Games, went and made another video game, an original one, Barrow Trauma, also known as Sinking Simulator 2019. Barrow Trauma involves you manning a submarine through the hostile Europa environment against all kinds of big bad beasties. It's difficult, it's stressful, and I really like it. The big downside though with the game, well, the two big downsides, is the fact that it doesn't really have an ease you in mode. It just throws you in at the deep end, just figure it out as you go along. Sure, there's a tutorial, but it doesn't really match up to what you're facing there. That and the bots are not the smartest. They don't know how to replenish oxygen tanks, for crying out loud, and that's really bad. I mean, I get that this is a game that is heavily rooted in multiplayer, having a bunch of people work through this, but I don't have any friends to play with, and I'm socially anxious for strangers, so it's not higher up on the list, sorry. I have played Tales of Vesperia on the 360 a lot. I think I have over 300 hours on it. So naturally, when Definitive came out, it came onto this list. The improvements are just so good to have. The addition of Patty and her random reward and punishment system added to the battle system beyond, well, this.
This ends now. Oblivion's blade of cold as steel. Rend the infinite darkness. And crush my enemies to nothing. We're dead! Savage Wolf Fury!
Not to mention the additional skits that they added with more voice acting, even if they couldn't get Troy Baker back, really does improve to it, and it's a Vesperia I know and love. Including the fact that it hasn't really aged that good. Yeah, to be truthful, a lot of things in this game have aged very poorly. The biggest is the dungeons. As you get further on, they get less memorable and a lot shorter until you get to the final dungeon, which is just way too long. I get it's a final dungeon, but this is like 30 to 50 minutes. Not to mention, the only way you can get the shortcut is to get to the final boss, so, you know, have fun with wanting to restock. The pacing of the game's also all over the place. Act 3 can be finished in a few hours compared to Act 1 and 2, and the AI is not the best. Not to mention there appears to be something up with the volume of the news skips. They're way too quiet compared to the ambience. This is going to be a thing with this video where I'm not going to have a whole lot to talk about some things and lots to talk about other things. I'm not good at this. Lone Echo was an experience. Merely one which didn't amount to too much since it is basically just a walking simulator. But it's an experience in terms of VR. This shows one of the best ways to do VR in terms of movement, and I loved it. Honestly though, it's a little bit difficult for me to talk about this since it's a walking simulator, something which I'm not good at talking about. I mean, what am I meant to say? You walk over here. You hear stuff. Deep stuff. You then walk over here. More deep stuff. I mean, don't get me wrong, Lone Echo adds certain aspects, but it's more you just drag yourself over, this, drag yourself over, put this in here, and that's it. I mean, from what I can say, I enjoyed it enough that I am excited for Lone Echo 2. I'll probably get it and play it. I kind of hope it has more than what it, I know it's a walking simulator, but I kind of hope it has more. This is going to be a very short one. EDF is a stupid game series. It is a stupid game series, and it fully well knows it. It's cheesy as hell, it has dumb things like this bit.
Aliens have finally landed on Earth! Yeah! Are they aliens? They look like humans!
No, sure, they look like humans. They don't look like humans. It's the same old formula that old EDF games have, and it still works. Kill anything that moves with more and more bonkers weapons, up to even fighting kaiju with a mech Pacific Rim style. Not to mention that, compared to 4.1, the bikes actually work in 5. That's not to say I'm good at driving them. The biggest problem, though, is the fact that it's got a lot of repetition. Don't get me wrong, 100 missions is great. It's not so great when the objective is 90% the same thing, and there's only like 5 maps to jump between. But you can initial D in that game. Okay, this is a bit of a cheat, because it's the expansion, but, that came out. After quitting RuneScape and EVE Online, I needed a new MMO fix. I tried World of Warcraft, and that held my attention for 20 minutes, and then I got bored. And eventually, Final Fantasy XIV greeted me. I think also as well, I didn't have friends that played World of Warcraft, but that played Final Fantasy XIV. And after being stupid and getting every combat class to 50, I'll say again, leveling all the combat classes up to level 50 before I started Heavensward. For the record, that's the first expansion. I was able to get through to the end of Stormblood just in time for when Shadowbringer was announced. Even changing my class from Scholar to Paladin, because they made anything that isn't a white mage terrible. The Shadowbringers expansion is fantastic. The characters are likable. I feel so bad for Minfilia, or Ryan, whatever you want to call her. And with how well the intricacies of the plot and the characters were made, there's a reason why the lead story writer got a standing ovation. I really like the story. It's definitely one of the best Final Fantasy stories I've listened to in a long time. But to me, the real big thing that I loved was the music and the raids. Let me break this down to you in meme form. Friendship ended with Gimlet Dark. Now the Twinnings is my new best dungeon music, and Friendship ended with the Evilise raids. Now the Nier raid is my new what? Look, 2 things. I've yet to play Nier Automata. And this raid pisses me off, though I can understand that a lot of people are new to the raid, and it is a bit of a difficult raid. But I love this raid so much. The setting, the boss fights, the final boss music. Not to mention, as a little bit of a side thing, I have terrible luck with video games that have day and night cycles. By that I mean, I'm always playing it, and it's always night. So, going into a world where it's everlasting day was actually kind of a good thing for me. Actually, kind of sucked that I had to bring back the night, because that means I would have to deal in my day-night cycle curse. Could we not have an option to be that guy? I mean, to be honest, there's not a lot of bad things I can say about this. The only thing I can say is that a lot of the enemies now are health sponges. I get that you need to have health creep to counter damage creep, and using the Nier raid for example, it takes nearly an hour for all 4 of the bosses. It takes a while. It does make it drag on for a bit. Okay, this is another cheat because I happened to play Monster Hunter World when it came out on the PC. But here's the thing. I got up to the Baroth, which is like mission 5, before my friends literally carried me through to high rank and near to the end of the main story. So I had no clue on what weapon I wanted to use. I didn't have good armor. I didn't know how to play. Well, I mean, it's pretty simple. I got carried, didn't I? So, exactly 1 year later, one of my friends invited me to join him since Iceborne, at least at the time of this recording, was coming out for PC, and we needed to get me ready for it. So, we worked on getting me up in skill and equipment that I needed. I ended up jumping between the Twin Blades, to the Hunting Horn, to the Gun Lance, and it was there that I was able to appreciate the game properly. I mean, this isn't my first Monster Hunter game. I've played Generations Ultimate with my friends on the Switch, but yeah, no, I don't like this game. I know I'm bad at it, but the controls are just too clunky. I don't know what it is with people that basically think that bad controls are important in a Monster Hunter game. That's like saying bugs are a core essential part of a Bethesda game. They're not, by the way, they're bugs. Bugs are meant to be removed. Sure, you can have funny ones like the Satellite, but bugs are meant to be removed. The fact that gathering and crafting is so much easier, the removal of the loading zones, the refined controls, it's just better than Generations Ultimate, I feel. Also, I do appreciate how the female models are not hourglass. In fact, they're mostly extra thick! And not to mention that despite having 30 or 40 or so monsters, most of them are really fun to fight. Most of them. And especially with Iceborne coming out in January, plus the new siege, called Teroth was an amazing siege in the base game, I'm still excited for this expansion. And I'm not gonna lie, unless some other games blow me out of the water in 2020, Iceborne's probably gonna be on this list in 2020. Being a predominantly PC gamer, this would be the part where I would say that it's good that this console-defining franchise has finally made its appearance on the PC. But yes, this is a cheat. I played Halo Reach on the Xbox when it came out 9 years ago, but how could I not put Halo on this? I love the Halo series. Most of them. Also, Halo 4 kind of dragged it on a bit. Don't get me wrong, Halo Reach isn't my favourite Halo game, that still sits with 3, but it's still a good game. Yeah, nostalgia's playing a big part here, but hey, I don't need Xbox Live to play this game anymore, so woohoo! Save myself 60 quid. Okay, this might be a little bit biased. Mostly because, full disclosure, I was a backer for this game. Admittedly, I haven't played a lot of Castlevania. I played the original, Symphony of the Night, and hell, I played a lot of Harmony of Despair, without using Alucard and Soma because they're just busted and cheap. This is a lot of fun. I don't know why, but I just get the feeling of fighting evil in the castle. Again, this might be biased playing a part of it. I did back this, so thematically, I just love this gothic feel. I, again, don't play a lot of games that have got this, and it just has that Castlevania feel without being one. Really, the only complaint that I've got is that the models and animations aren't amazing, but the team has shown in the past that they're on board for feedback given the graphics upgrade they gave it previously, so I think the game's in good hands. Not much to say, minus arigato, Rika-san. I couldn't think of anything very long to say about this. Spyro Reignited. Purely nostalgia that's got it onto this list here. The original games are still fantastic, minus graphics, they have aged wonderfully, and it's... I got nothing. I really like Spyro. It was one of my trifecta of PlayStation 1 games, so of course it would be on this list. I know I don't got much to say, but I don't have much to say about games that are based on nostalgia anyway. I only ever played the first game in this franchise, to be exact the Game Boy Advance remake that the West got, so I was mostly oblivious to this entire franchise, minus a few mentions in Smash. I didn't know of Sacred Stones, Path of Radiance, Radiant Dawn. I knew a bit about Awakening and Echoes because I had a friend that played it, until eventually I played one. Fire Emblem Three Houses. Was I missing all this entire time? I love this game. I love its music, its setting, its characters. I want to get all the support options for all the characters for crying out loud. I've enjoyed this game so much that after the time skip, I reset because I wasn't able to get all the characters. Okay, I still fucked that up, but it was Ferdinand, so who the fuck cares? He didn't shut up. I've been playing this still despite the fact that I got Zelda Link's Awakening and Mario Maker 2 for my birthday. I'm enjoying it just that much. Also, from the voice actor side, it's really nice to see some lesser known voice actors get roles in this. I don't know if these particular voice actors are common for the Fire Emblem series, but I like them. There's also another reason as well. Around the time I got this game, I was in a mess mentally. A lot of the time, it was common for me to go to sleep with depressed thoughts swirling in my head, or just thinking negatively in general while tired. But I don't know what it is, but playing through this game seemed to have just made me stop thinking negatively. I'm sure there's loads of other factors to it, but in the case of this was the... what's the word for it? This was the thing that sort of pulled me out of a dark place. Also, I've only played Blue Lions because I feel really bad for Dimitri. Honestly, there's just two bad things. One of it isn't really its fault. I'm not a very big fan of the fact that you need to buy an expansion pack as opposed to just bit by bit. The second one isn't even Fire Emblem's fault. Okay, the Switch has been out for such a long time. How come they haven't fixed the Joy-Con drift yet? I know that as a turn-based game, it won't affect me much, but the fact that you have it happen is just a major annoyance, and I just want Nintendo to just turn around and say that these new Joy-Cons that they're making is, gonna not have this issue, because the Joy-Cons are expensive. And, the same issue with the Switch Lite, except you gotta replace the entire goddamn console at that point. Again, that's not Fire Emblem's fault. That's just a company that makes such, rugged design, and strong consoles. How did they mess up the Joy-Cons? Then that's it. That's my top 10 of 2019. If you agree with any of them or disagree with any of them, let me know. But again, as I say, this is my opinion. My opinion only. It shouldn't be put down as fact, just like how yours shouldn't be put down as fact, because, I haven't played Red Dead Redemption, for example, but it's going to be on some people's lists. So, thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and here's to 2020. Bye-bye.